It's Gary from fitnessfirstnutrition.com back with another video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're going to get right into this. I need y'all to stick around. I need you to comment below. I need you to let me know, am I tripping? This is Jasmine Crockett, and this is her take on, this is a state representative, and she's going to give her take on policing and what's going on in Chicago.
Jasmine, let me ask you about military vehicles staging and before outside of Chicago and the military inside the city limits of DC. What do you think about all that stuff? Is it good? Is it bad? And why is it good or why is it bad?
I think it's terrible. First of all, I'm like, how is it that we have a government that is hostile towards its people? Because that's what it is. Like, I mean, we are in the midst of a hostile government takeover, and it is our government that is like bringing the hostility. So there's a couple of things. So like, let me go into like my legal mode for 2 seconds, because I don't think that the average person understands the training, right? So literally, ICE is not trained to go out and do what they're doing. Same thing with our National Guard. Like, you have a different type of designation because you have different training, because your mission is different. And so local law enforcement, whether it's your local municipal police, your sheriff's deputies, your state troopers, they are trained completely differently. They are the ones that are trained in investigatory work. They are the ones that are trained on how to testify in trial, how to pull a case together. Same thing with like your FBI, your DEA, and that kind of stuff. Like, so they are straight up like law enforcement. This is what they do. They're the ones that deal with crime. And so that's that part of it, right? In addition to the fact that they are the ones that deal with crime, I want to be clear that like law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime. Okay, that is what they are supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening per se. So that's number one. Number two,
So that is the clip that was online. That last part right there, that police are not supposed to prevent crime, that they're supposed to investigate crime, solve crimes, whatever. So to start off with, she was on a good path. Now, I want you to keep in mind that Jasmine Crockett is not a dumb person. She has a degree. I know a degree does not necessarily mean that you're a rocket scientist, but she does have a degree. Not only does she have a degree, she has a law degree. So she went to school for 4 years, and then she went to school for 4 more years and got a whole nother degree. So she has a significant amount of schooling, and she has acquired a lot of knowledge in law in particular. So you would think that she would have a smarter perspective on what she just said, but she's also a politician. She's the U.S. representative for the Texas 30th Congressional District, and she's been doing that since 2023. That's a little backstory on her. Before that, she was a public defender. She was she worked as a private injury lawyer, so ambulance chaser. I don't know, whatever. But that's her. She's credentialed. She's part of the government. And she is saying ridiculous things like this. I don't want anybody in my government saying stupid things like this. So again, she started off on a pretty decent path. She started off with military should not be patrolling the streets, and that is true. I've said that before. I will stand with anyone who's on that side of it. I don't care about Republicans, Democrats. I've said that before. I don't care. Right is right, wrong is wrong. No military on the streets unless it is needed. There may be something where maybe it is needed, but for simple policing is not needed. So she didn't mention what ICE is trained for or what they're doing that they're not trained for. So I didn't really like that. If you're going to speak on it, then fully speak on it. As far as the National Guard or Marines, she didn't say Marines, but that's another form of military: Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, National Guard. They are not trained in policing. They are trained in battlefield warfare. They're not trained to police society. That is true. That is where we are together. Me and her, we lock arms. We're on the same side. Cool. I like it. Where we veer away is when she says that police are not there to prevent crime. Police are there to prevent crime and solve crime. They have a dual mandate. I don't want a police officer just showing up after the shit is done. So if they're not here to prevent crime, let's just say, someone kicks in your door, maybe you're a nice young lady, they kick in your door, you catch them out the corner of your eye, you run to the bathroom, you get on the phone with the police dispatcher, and you're describing what's going on. Hey, somebody in my house right now, they're coming to get me. And I need help. I need immediate assistance. The dispatcher, she takes some pertinent details. She then dispatches the police. She dispatches the police to get there to prevent a further crime. prevent you from being murdered, prevent the items in your house from being stolen. That's why they're dispatched. They're not dispatched. They're not told, hey, we got this lady on the line and we need you to go over there, but we're going to wait till it's over. And then you go over there, you investigate, and you look at her corpse, and we bring the detectives in, and they come in and start detecting shit. And that's not how it works. They're there to prevent crime. There's a reason why police officers used to walk a beat. Some places they still do walk a beat. Some places they stopped and they have picked it up. Typically, you get lower crime when you do have officers walking a beat because most people don't want to go to jail. So you need policing in the neighborhood. You need police there to prevent. They're not security guards. They get paid a little bit more than security guards. They have better benefits than security guards. They have more responsibility than security guards. They have more prestige. They have more of a leeway to handle things. They get the benefit of the doubt. They are not here as security guards. They are here to police and keep order and prevent crime. Maybe that's why she doesn't understand this. Maybe they don't understand this in cities like Chicago and Oakland, like just places where murder is rampant. California, stores shutting down because the crime is too much. Not even just saying the murder, but just the theft of the Walmarts don't want to be there. Walgreens, CVS's, nobody wants to do business there. And they're even starting to pull out of places like Chicago. So the police are important. And it's important that they actually police. We don't need people to just show up once the show is over. We need people to prevent things. And it just so happens there was a sad story, which I'm going to play now. And it's of a 70-year-old man, and his life was taken in Chicago. So play this.
In breaking news on the South Side, Chicago police say a 70-year-old man has died after he was pushed to the ground and beaten by someone at a bus stop. This happened in the Washington Heights neighborhood last night at 9:15. That's right around Halsted and 95th. You can see shattered glass on the ground and what appears to be a baseball hat. Police say whoever did this got away.
So what that was officers in that video investigating a crime to solve it. But the crime already happened. Would the 70-year-old man be better served if the police were walking around and caught the guy before he attacked them, as soon as he attacked them, or after he attacked them? I think he would be better served if they caught him before or during the attack in an effort to save this 70-year-old man's life. Somebody's father, somebody's grandfather, somebody's great uncle, great uncle, however that goes. But I think that he would be better served having that happen as opposed to the officers that are now there to try to figure out who has murdered this man, who he cannot come back. It's over for him. It's over. His family will not see him again. So that's why they have a dual mandate. You have people, the officers that are supposed to be there. That's why you have like off-duty officers. If they see a crime being committed, they might jump into action. I'm not saying they all do, but some of them do. They jump into action to prevent the crime, not to just catch him later. So I don't know if she misspoke, but that's something she probably should have cleared up. It is when you get to talking on a podcast or whatever, and I believe that was filmed live. That podcast is actually the Grounded podcast. You may misspeak, but she hasn't cleaned that up. That's something that if you did misspeak, you come back and you clean something like that up. She has a voice. Like she's on CNN, she's on Fox News, they play clips of her on Fox News. Like she's out there. She's one of the more recognizable politicians, especially from the Democratic Party. So you let me know, do you agree, do you not agree? I'm going to play a little bit more of this because a lot of people just played that little snippet of the stupid thing she said, but they didn't play what she said before that. And I think giving a bigger context is important. I like to be fair. So I'm going to give her a little bit more, see what else she has to say, and then we're going to get out of here. But I do want to hear your comments. I do want to read your comments about what's happened so far.
When you look at our armed forces, first of all, I have concerns about our readiness as we are not doing smart things with our allies. Okay. So I'm concerned about our readiness in general when we are taking those that signed up for the service in whatever capacity, and we are now putting them on the streets and having them with guns. They are not trained to deal with civilians in that way. That is not what they are trained to do. Like, when you sign up for any military, you are a trained killer. You are trained for war, not for going and policing our streets. All right. So you got that part. And then the final part for me is, I know that these guys don't believe in data, science, and facts, but they do matter. And the reality is that not only do we have the studies that show what typically perpetuates crime and how to reduce it or prevent it, but they're doing just the opposite in their policies. Number one, this big ugly bill has pulled back on a lot of the grants that would help law enforcement. There are some of those grants that go directly to law enforcement. They pulled those monies back. There are mitigation and intervention grants that have been pulled.
All right. So from what she just said, if they know how to police, if they know how to bring down crime, why does crime keep going up? Clearly they don't know. Chicago, I think they get $2 billion in federal funding for their police, which before 1994, I don't even think the federal government even gave money to local police. And Chicago is a violent place. It is, they call it Chirac. It's a dangerous place. It's known to be dangerous. People are getting shot all the time, robbed all the time. It's not a nice place. They're even starting to rob downtown, the nice parts. They used to stay away from the nice parts. They started going to the nice parts, shooting up the nice parts. And then you get some pretty decent policing. When they go down to the Magnificent Mile or something like that, you get better policing. They start to catch people then because they care more about them. But that's a different topic for a different day. But the point is that it's not. I don't even think it's a money issue. I think it's a mandate issue. I think it's a strategical issue. If you can't figure it out with $2 billion in federal funding, as well as your local funding from the people in your city, state, I think sometimes you need a new police commissioner. Sometimes you need a new mayor. Sometimes you just need a new methodology, a new way of thinking, a new way of policing. This is not working. You have the stats. The FBI has the stats. It's easy to say you have the stats. They've had the stats for quite some time. People are dying. A lot of people are dying and being robbed, and crime is up, and theft is up, and all these things are up, and they've been up. They were up under Biden. They were up. They're coming down a little bit right now, but they're still high. Like, we don't have it figured out. They don't have it figured out. That's disingenuous. But anyway, you let me know what you think about the first part and the second part. And I'm Gareth from thisfirstnutrition.com, and I enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. See you in the next video.